Hi guys, and welcome to another movie review. This time I'm going to be reviewing Baz Luhrmann's 2013 adaptation of The Great Gatsby by J. Scott Fitzgerald. I have had such a soft spot for this film for years. Like, I must have watched it about 10 times like in the past 2 years. I need help. But anyway, I watched it last night to get everything clear in my head, so I will give you another full encompassing review. So it's adapted from the book of the same name by John Scott Fitzgerald. I am going to feel like such a prat if I've got that wrong. But it's the story of wealth and corruption and unobtainable love set amongst the glamour and the excess of the 1920s. So, right. I have a very love-hate relationship with Baz Luhrmann. Like, I think his style of direction works very well for some things and not so much for others. Like Moulin Rouge, it's very sort of out there and it's very exuberant, so his style of direction works. Romeo and Juliet, on the other hand, not such a big fan. I think it's because I am a proper Shakespeare geek, so I do like modern adaptations of Shakespeare if it's done well, which is the main thing, and there were some points that were just a bit... It was very... I think one of the scenes, to pinpoint in particular, sorry for going off on like a major tangent, but when Mercutio offers Romeo drugs, which... Hey, don't do drugs, kids. And it's just very much, don't focus on what I'm saying. Look at the pretty colours. Look how pretty it all is. It was a bit too over the top, I felt. I know people that really love it. Me, on the other hand, I don't think it quite worked. So I felt with The Great Gatsby, Baz Luhrmann was the perfect person to bring the novel to life, because in the novel it does talk about just excess and grandeur and just colour and vibrancy, which is exactly what Baz Luhrmann brings to it. So in that way I felt he was absolutely perfect for it. Like, the parties were absolutely gorgeous. The cinematography on the party scenes and on the driving scenes even were amazingly gorgeous. Even Daisy's introduction, where you've got all of the curtains billowing, that was beautiful. It's just a really beautiful film. And I think only Baz Luhrmann could bring that element of vibrancy and make it so beautiful and so suitable. So, nice one, Baz. Baz? Baz. Alright, Baz Luhrmann, you are now called Baz. What up? So, the cinematography, absolutely gorgeous. The acting was phenomenal. Every member of the cast was brilliant in their respective roles. Carey Mulligan as Daisy, she gave the right level of sort of nicety and grace, and yet you can tell underneath that there is somewhat of a, I wouldn't say so much nasty, but you get there's something not quite right about her. Tom was just, he was just a dick. Like, Joel Edgerton, just you played a good dick. Well done. That's what she said. Leonardo DiCaprio as Gatsby was astonishing. He was Gatsby to me. I haven't seen any of the previous adaptations, but Leonardo is just #bae. I adore Leonardo DiCaprio anyway, and I think that the Academy are dickheads for not giving him an Oscar. Just my opinion. But he was so perfect for Gatsby in this film, and you get, yet again, it's the same thing with Daisy, there's duality. Like, you get the niceties, the proper southern gentlemanly manners, and then you get underneath that he's very, very insecure, and he's kind of like a coiled spring. It just takes one little thing, and he's gone. He's like nearly punching Tom's brains out, like that kind of stage. Tobey Maguire as Nick Carraway, he was perfect. Like, even his bits of narration. Again, the bits of narration, going back to my good old friend Baz, the bits where you see what Nick's writing or when he's typing was so gorgeous. That was amazingly beautiful. And the whole characterisation that Tobey Maguire gives Nick and the relationship between the two men, it is really cute. Their friendship is, well, it's the most genuine of any of the relationships in the film, or even in the book itself, which is why some speculate that Nick Carraway is in love with Gatsby, which, yeah, I buy that. I buy that theory. But in the film they are just so close, and the dynamic between them, just Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire have got such good chemistry as friends, and it makes it even more heartbreaking when, spoiler alert, but then again the book's been out for about 70 to 80 years, so can you really call it a spoiler alert, or is it just your fault for not reading the book yet? But when Gatsby dies and Nick is the only one there, it was so emotional. Even though I would have, on the DVD they have some of the deleted scenes, and Baz, my main man, had planned to have Gatsby's father turn up to the funeral, which I don't know why they got rid of that part, because even watching that scene, that was so moving, and it was kind of strange that his parents wouldn't try and go to the funeral of their son, their only son. So that was just a little, I don't understand why that was omitted. I guess you would kind of be taking creative license, but if it's going to have more of an emotional impact, I don't see the issue with it. It's just me though. I'm a sop. So yeah. So the performances were amazing. The soundtrack, that was a bit weird for me. So if you're going to have something that is set in the 1920s, why have music that is so electronic and sounds really modern? I didn't quite, I mean, I like the songs. I do really like A Little Party Never Hurt Nobody. I do like it. And it does have that kind of tone of jazz. But I don't know, it felt a bit weird. Like, one scene in particular I liked the music for was when Tom takes Nick to his apartment with Myrtle and her sister, and Nick gets absolutely wasted and goes out onto the balcony and he starts talking about, oh yeah, I was within and without, and you've got someone playing a saxophone. I liked that. That kind of sound to it was really effective. I liked. I guess for the parties the kind of more modern music worked, but it was a weird kind of mixture when you've got music that sounded like it was from the 20s and then it goes into a little party never kill nobody. Just like, okay. So I don't know exactly where I stand. I like the songs, but whether they work to the film, I don't know. So you have the music. The costume was gorgeous. Like, Daisy's outfits were amazing. They were beautiful. I'd go around in that. Yeah, I'd probably get a few weird looks, but I loved her costumes. She's got very much. She mainly wears white, which, you know, has to symbolise her purity in the eyes of Gatsby and that kind of thing. But her clothing was gorgeous. It was lovely. I loved it. The architecture of even the Buchanan household was gorgeous. That big palatial building was gorgeous, and the mazes outside, it was beautiful. And Gatsby's house was even more gorgeous. It was like the room where they have the grand, was it a piano or an organ? I think it was an organ, can't quite remember. But you've got all gold and black, and you've got the JG. I was just thinking, oh, what are the letters of the alphabet? JG. That was beautiful there. When you had scenes that took place by the pool, looking out down to the dock, especially when you could see like the green light coming back, it was just so pretty. That's what I can say for this film. It is so pretty, and it's very difficult to get the balance between style and substance, and I think Baz did very well. He did well. It is difficult to try and make a film visually appealing and still have a plot that keeps the watcher, the viewer, engrossed. And obviously he's working from the source material, but you know, as I said with Romeo and Juliet, it kind of felt like it was going more towards the style over substance, which when you're working with Shakespeare, it's a bit of a weird kind of thing to be happening, and I'm just sitting there going, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? But with The Great Gatsby, he got it just right. It was amazingly beautiful, and it did a very good job of conveying the source material, because The Great Gatsby is one of my favourite books, and I do feel like the film did it justice, which when it comes to other books that I liked, like I was a fan of Divergent, right? I know it's not exactly one of the classics, like even characters like Anastasia Steele read, but I liked Divergent when it first came out, and I appreciated the fact that it was written by a 21-year-old author, even though, you know, I published my first book when I was 16, so and what? But I loved that book. I thought it was clever, even though it did have kind of hints of Hunger Games and even to an extent matched, which was, I don't particularly go abundance on that book series, but hey ho. But when I went in to watch this film, I was so disappointed. They made it just like any other young adult fiction. It was... They cut out so much, they added different things, and it really did not work for me. I did not like it at all, and it kind of ruined the book for me, because now I can't look at it in the same way, and I'm just like, I don't particularly like you anymore because I watched your film adaptation. But the screenwriters and the director on The Great Gatsby did such a... Well, it was such a credit to the original source material, and I think Baz Lurhmann, as his crazy look at all the pretty colours style of directing, worked so perfectly for a tale about the corruption and the falsities of the American dream. Because in essence, Gatsby is in his pursuit of the American dream, he loses everything, but his infectious desire and his infectious gift for hope, which I love that line, I love it, and the orgastic green light, just oh, so good. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. So I would give this film a 9 out of 10 without a shadow of a doubt. The only reason it isn't a 10 is because of it didn't quite sit right with me, the fact that there were the two music genres working side by side. But it was extremely beautiful, and it did such a credit to the original source material. So you can't really ask for much more. It's just my own personal thoughts on the music genre. It was a bit... But I did love the songs, so it's a bit weird. So anyway, that were my thoughts on The Great Gatsby. I'll be back later this week with another video. Catch you guys next time. Bye!